All right, so here's a couple things to look at whenever you're purchasing or acquiring land or a property. I'm actually going over this with Nick right now, and this is crucial. So first thing is make sure you got the proper parcel ID numbers. If you can't find where the parcel ID numbers or the tax collector's office on your property, just go to landguide.com, type in the property address. It'll bring you right to the property records, and make sure you got the right parcel ID numbers. That's crucial because one property could probably have a few parcel ID numbers. Also, when you're looking at the property, you want to make sure you're clicking around the property. You'll see this within your tax collector's office or property appraiser's office, because you could see if there's other properties that are in the owner's name that you did not know they own, but it's right next to your property. So you want to make sure like that's encompassed that's in the agreement that you're purchasing. So sometimes people will say an address, but there's multiple properties with parcel ID numbers with the same address. But unless you do not click on that on the website for the property appraiser's office, you won't even know the parcel ID numbers, because people typically memorize their addresses. They don't memorize an 11 code or more parcel ID number. So that's the first thing. Second thing is properties to be aware of as well. Number one, if a property is a manufactured home built below 1990, you typically, and it has a land lease, you don't want to buy anything with land leases. That's the first thing. Even if you own the land, it's 55 and over community, be leery, because it just takes time, because now, no matter what, those communities are ran by HOA. That's why there's even a restriction. But that restriction is going to also hinder you from finding buyers for it. Even if you get a steal of a deal, the main reason why is they have to approve your peeps. Even if they're 55 and over, they still got to go through approval process. And a lot of people don't even want to deal with that. And there's usually a 10-year gap rule. That means like if you got some man that got blessed and very lucky and has a wife that's 10 years younger, if she is 11 years younger at 44 and he's 55, she can't move in typically. So it is what it is. Ask me how I know that. I'm not 55, but I'm just saying that's what happened to me on one of these deals. We had somebody that wanted to buy. He was 55. His wife was like 43. And I was like, God bless him. What's wrong with that? But the HOA said no. The other thing is you have to make sure you win when you buy, but you have to think about you have to think about what can kill your deal. Your goal is to have zero risk in a deal. Your goal is not to have risk. So you want to look at every single factor that you possibly can to make sure you don't have risk. And so that looks like if it was a manufactured home built in 1980, you may have a hard time because the buyer is going to have a hard time getting a mortgage, right? If you buy a property, even though it's a nice piece of land, but the property was built in 1935, okay, not saying it's not a bad deal, but you want to confirm with mortgage companies in your area, hey, have you closed recently in the last 6 months or 3 months any deals in 1935 or 1900 and above? What are the stipulations now for closings? Are they requiring what? What are they requiring for closings now? Do they require that you have to show proof that you have a new roof and it pulled permits, new electrical, new plumbing, new foundation inspection? Like, what is the requirements to even get a mortgage? Because if you sell the property and that person can get a mortgage, you don't have a deal. So these are a couple things to think about whenever you're acquiring a property and you're playing that acquisition side. Hopefully this helps anybody listening to this. And also, if you're interested in getting a whole bunch of case studies, I got over 117 on my website that hopefully that could help you as well. Go to trueinvestors.com, and you can check it out. All right, bye.